गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गनर शॉट। गनर शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। Today we are going to talk about Bangladesh, the upheaval in Bangladesh. And joining me to talk about this are good old friends of mine, General Dushyant Singh, who's en route to Lucknow from Delhi. He's stopping over at Mathura and he's joining us from there. And of course, General Pradeep Nair, he's joining us from Hyderabad. Am I right, Pradeep?
That, that's right.
Right. And let me tell you at the outset, a lot of things have happened in the past 28 to 48 hours. Uh, you know, if I retrack a bit, Osman Hadi, a youth uprising leader, was shot dead on 12th December. He was not shot dead, he was shot. As per reports, the bullet went from one ear and went out from the other ear. Okay. And then he went into a coma. He was taken to Singapore, and today morning he was declared dead. The moment he's been declared dead, riots have broken out. There's a Hindu man who's been lynched and burned. Uh, Leading newspapers in Bangladesh, Daily Star, Pratham Malo, New Age, their offices have been ransacked and burned. Right? Few days back, the Indian High Commission was attacked and saved at the last moment. Not only the Indian High Commission, the consulates everywhere. There's a reaction. Today, something is happening in Agartala in the Bangladesh consulate. That's some action is going on there. Not too violent though. So a lot of things. Uh, there's a lot of anti-India sentiment, and Yunus, and Muhammad Yunus, who's the chief advisor of Bangladesh, he's playing some funny story, and we need to make a sense of what is happening in this neighbor of ours. Where is it going, and everything. So we'll start with General Dushyant. General Dushyant has a PowerPoint, and we'll go there, and then we'll get uh, General Nair's assessment of the whole thing, and we'll have a discussion as to how do you see this whole thing moving forward from an Indian perspective. Right. I'll start with this thing. Uh, just let me know when to change, and I'll keep changing. Just say next. Over to
Okay,
you,
sir.
Dushyant.
Thank you very much for calling me to Gunner Shot on a topic. I think it is being now referred to by the country's various experts, whether they are at the political level or the security level, as India's greatest emergency in the last few decades. I think that itself speaks about the situation where we are. And we also need to understand that there is a concerted effort by powers that are inimical to us to ensure that we start looking at multiple fronts so that our security efforts are dissipated, and in this we don't have any dearth of enemies. So with this kind of a brief overview as to why all this is happening, let me just go into the situation as of today in Bangladesh, and how it started off. May I have the next slide, sir? So, if I were to make the recent, I'm not going back to July uprising, who all were behind it, why it was done. The main aim was to do a regime change, get Sheikh Hasina out, get that island, Saint Martin Island, to the US. They've already got it. They've already got it. They are very happy about it. I don't know what they're going to do with it. It's a coral island. I don't know what additional advantage it will give them, except for the fact that it will control the mouth of the CMEC, and also it will be kind of a overwatch over India, and then China and the Malacca Strait. They'll have some kind of influence because of that particular island. Also, they wanted humanitarian corridor. I think that was more of a, you can say, a cover to get what they wanted. And of course, regime change was the second aim. So what happened was that you have already described the whole issue about Hadi being assassinated, or finally he was dead, but that this was an attempt to assassinate him. The bullet went through his ear, and then he went into coma. There were two helmeted assailants. I believe they have captured the or they have got hold of the assailant, and India wants to do a they say that you extradite them to India in case we feel that India is behind all this. So then thereafter, can we go to the next one, sir? Yeah, so on December 18, late night, Singapore medical authorities confirmed that Hadi had succumbed to his injuries because after his operation in Bangladesh, as you said, he was, I mean, they could not effectively treat him, so he was sent to Singapore for further treatment. However, the news of his death led to thousands of students and Inqilab Manch. Inqilab Manch is the group of which this Hadi character is a very prominent leader. He was involved in a big way in the July uprising also, and a primary actor, anti-India and a hater of Hindus. So these were the two things which were kind of struck to his reputation. So people have just extrapolated this thing to say that since he was anti-India, since he was speaking anti-India, he was talking of isolating the northeast and etc etc. So therefore he was assassinated. My sense is that it is not only him, it is the Jamaat-e Islami which is sitting behind the defunct Yunus government, which has no control, actually pulling the strings, and Yunus is made to or whether he does it willingly or he is made to do, he in fact declared Hadi as a martyr. So you can understand from where all this environment is coming. Then on the next day, Daily Star, Pratham Ali, largest newspaper offices in Dhaka were set on fire, with staff reportedly trapped inside the burning building. And cultural center, Chatniyat cultural center, was also attacked by mobs. So there seems to be a frenzy. I what reports I have got is that this party alone is not. I mean, it is not likely to succeed in the elections. So therefore, they want to rip up this, the sentiment inside Bangladesh, so that the people start getting mobilized or gravitated or polarized towards the NCP, National Citizen Party, of which this fellow is also an important member. So those have gone, I mean, their speeches are going viral, totally anti-India. In fact, this kind of a thing is what is triggering BNP to now send Tariq Rahman. He has taken, I mean, his photographs came in front of his house in London. I believe he's coming to Bangladesh. He is being, I mean, touted as possibly the next prime minister. One doesn't know what is going to happen. So there is going to be a more internal crisis between the Jamaat-e-Islami and the front being the Inqilab Manch and the NCP. Go to the next one, sir. So, on December 19th, the chief advisor Muhammad Yunus delivered a televised address calling Hadi a martyr of the second revolution, but urging citizens to reject communal hatred and violence. It's like, a demon speaking in a sheep's clothing. This man is, I would put, as the second catalyst for all that is happening in Bangladesh. Then on December 20th, the government has declared a half-day national mourning. Hadi's body is expected to arrive at Hazrat Shahilal. All this is actually pointing out to the fact that they are out and out wanting to win the elections somehow, get into power, and then kick out or tell you go back to your Western friends, provided they are ready to take them now. I don't think they are going to really take him. He will also meet the fate what the others have met. That only time will tell, sir. So next slide, sir. So what are the strategic implications? The death of Hadi being viewed as Strato incident of 2025, a localized tragedy with potential to spark a regional conflict. I'll come to that slightly later. Anti-India mobilization. Hadi was an outspoken critic. I have already spoken about it. Especially he used to target Siliguri corridor and dependency proponent of Greater Bangladesh. And the proponent of Greater Bangladesh nationalism. In fact, they also released a map of Greater Bangladesh, including all our seven northeastern states. Election uncertainty with elections due in February 2026. His assassination has sidelined moderate political discourse in favor of radical nationalist rhetoric, which I just covered. I also have a fear that they might cancel the whole election because of the internal, reactions which are taking place, taking the plea that there is the environment is not right for election, and those might continue into power for another 8 9 months. That's a very much of a possibility. And what will happen is that in the cover of Yunus, it will be Jamaat-e Islami through the face of NCP, etc., which will continue to rule this country and get it into chaos and confusion further. Military posture, I've said Bangladesh army has been given magistracy power to restore order, making the most extensive internal deployment since the August 2024 transition. Let's see how the Bangladesh army tips, because in my view, if the situation can come under control, it can only come under control by the Bangladesh army if they decide to do so. Otherwise, it is going to deteriorate further and further. So, next slide, sir. So measures what India has taken. Narrative collapse of India's neighborhood first. I think time has come to start talking about security. Enough is enough. We have to call the shots now. We cannot go on to the same old narrative of neighborhood first, etc. Nobody bothers about our neighborhood first. We have given so much of credit, line of credit to all our nations around us, but none of them have reciprocated in the manner they should have reciprocated. Hadi factor, we have already discussed. Extradition tension, sake Hasina factor, I think is another one which is creating a little bit of a I would say, heightened stress between India and Bangladesh. But we stick to our guns and keep protecting Sheikh Hasina. If nothing else, he was actually preventing such a internal turmoil from taking place. This is far beyond the July revolution. Far beyond that. You have Hindus being burnt. You have the deputy high commissioner in Chittagong being attacked physically. I mean, this is something doesn't deserve soft action or whatever. It needs a hard action. Digital onslaught to counter Pakistan. One thing which India has been doing is that they have mobilized their PIB department to take out deep fake counters, which is just to get people to understand what is the reality as far as Bangladesh is concerned, because those guys are in connivance with China and Pakistan, taking out deep fakes at such rapid pace that it is likely to create internal turmoil in India as well. China is also filling up the economic gap. I believe they are looking at the, I think, Moga port and Tista project, and also few other development projects where the US has withdrawn its funding, and Chinese are trying to take it over. Essentially, again, they also serve two purposes. It is some way countering India, and also a watch over the US presence in this particular region. Next, sir. Next slide, sir. Yeah. So US regime, I think, is trapped now. They have, by and large, withdrawn from the scene, but their desire to have a regime change and fair election is actually emboldening the Islamists. And India is trying to counter this through the Middle East countries, maybe through additional donations, additional grants and aids, which can go to Bangladesh so that they are not that dependent on the US or the Chinese. India's strategic measures are visa suspension, hardened Siliguri corridor, surveillance of key points of Bangladesh, including Lal Mundrihat, economic and social wait and watch is what is happening. We have still kept the medical visa line open. Now, that's something that would be the last straw. We are still keeping the power energy sector going as far as Bangladesh is concerned, but there is a very severe hostile gray zone likely to occur. It may transit to hot war. Uh, Sir, next, that should be my last slide. Okay, we can discuss this, sir, and take the discussion forward from here. These are the options for India, or any other option which you all can suggest. What should India do in a situation where the nation has, where a particular neighbor has decided to, become another Pakistan? We must realize, sir, Bangladesh has got two countries within it. One is Pakistan, and the other one is Bangladesh. Now, the people who are Bangladeshis, I mean, truly nationalists, are now under pressure. So they are hidden. They are not able to come out in the streets. Remember, in the prisoners who were caught during 1971 out of the 93, a bulk of them were Bangladeshis also. I met many in the United Nations also. They carry that old, Pakistani kind of a emotion within them of the two nation theory and other aspects. So therefore I feel that as of now that particular faction has taken over even the Bangladesh army. So the performance of the Bangladesh army is also going to be suspect in the times to come. The What's the current chief's name? He has been sidelined because the Yunus has appointed an advisor, a Lieutenant General Saab, retired, who is actually calling the shots as far as the deployment of army is concerned. I don't know how long the current chief is going to last, or whether he will take over the reins. So with that, the three options which were there was, as per me, were soft option, gray zone, and a heightened gray zone leading to war. But be prepared for the consequences. So over to you, sir. I have stopped.
Yeah, thanks a lot. You laid out everything. The important point is that, in 1971, we took Bangladesh out of Pakistan. In 2025, we are recognizing that we couldn't take Pakistan out of Bangladesh, right? That's
Absolutely.
where we are. And with this, I'd request General Nair. Yeah, you heard the thing, and it's generally we know the facts. Your assessment and where should we go and what are the options? And I would like you to comment on this options, because that's where the discussion we need to center on. All yours, Pradeep.
Sir, thank you firstly for having me. Always good to be with you, and now especially so with the General Dushyant, whom I've known for many years, many decades actually. Good to be with the two of you, sir. General Dushyant, and you, sir, you both have set the stage very well for today's discussion. I'll try and emphasize on certain points that kind of got left out and which I feel are necessary before we discuss the options. And let me begin by saying that if you see all the events that have happened, if you try and contextualize as to why now, there are things that are very, very prominent, sir. This is Vijay Davas, immediately after Vijay Davas. So, in the wake of that, the necessity of whipping up this anti-India hysteria. That's one. Next is also the fact, very recently, the so-called ICT, International Crimes Tribunal, just 2 months back, they awarded a death penalty to not just Sheikh Hasina, but to 15 other very important members, and 12 of them are from the DG FI, Armed Forces Intelligence, uh, the DGs. Um, so 5 of them. Of course, the other 6, 7 of them also were part of the intelligence, and the uh, allegation against them is making disappearance of people happen, and crime against humanity. These are the charges that are labeled against them, and it's uh, 19th of January is the date they've given when this is going to come up for hearing. This trial will start. Strange as it may seem, the main accused is not there, and the trial is just going on by this ICT, which coincidentally was started by Hasina herself and her father to look after the people. I mean, to take care of all those people who did not support Bangladesh's creation. Uh, this court itself has been like a kangaroo court, and going forward, what's most important is the elections. Now, here I have a very genuine doubt whether these elections will be held at all in the first place. Because as we are inching towards elections, uh, Yunus is managing to stage all these events, which will in some way give him freedom to say that the situation is not good enough to conduct elections. And on this, and don't take my word for this, I would like to quote what one of the media houses has said. General Dushyant mentioned about these two media houses, Pratham and the Morning Star, uh, which which were attacked, which were actually burnt. The Daily Star, not Morning Star, the Daily Stars. Uh, Now, if I have to draw a parallel, Pratham is like our Dainik Bhaskar. It's the largest red newspaper, and the Daily Star is something like our Times of India, the largest read English newspaper there. Uh, the Daily Star has a readership of about 1 lakh plus, whereas Pratham has a readership of about 5 to 6 millions. That is the range, and both of them belong to the same media house. And interestingly, you must note, sir, that both these media houses were attacked earlier also, uh, in July, August last year, when all this upheaval happened. And I want to quote what the media house has said in this. I'll just read this out. It says, the Daily Star says both the Daily Star and Prothomolo have been under repeated threats from different quarters, but they were neither dealt with seriously nor investigated. Now, this is a very serious allegation. Two other things which they say that by undertaking these attacks, they are clearly trying to postpone the elections to an indefinite date. Again, this is being quoted by these two media houses. So, on the one hand, Yunus and all his stooges keep saying that the Indian media is wrongly reporting incidents, but it is there for all of us to see that these attacks against minorities, Indians in particular, is there staring at you in your face. This young man called Deepu Chandra Das, yesterday he was lynched, and then his body was hung and it was burnt. And all this was put on social media by the Islamists. So we need to connect the dots in all of this. Jan Dushan spoke of the countries that are inimical to us, and here I want to make a mention of the United States. The role of United States, not much is written. In fact, if you try and put it on Chat GPT as to what is the US role in this, it'll say these are allegations by the Indian media. Obviously, that is what it will say. But if you see what happened closer to the event and immediately after the event, uh, 5th of August last year is when Sheikh Hasina moved out from there. 2 weeks before that, on 26th, 27th of July, Peter Haas, the then American ambassador, just moved out from Bangladesh, lock, stock, and barrel, without even meeting either the president or the prime minister, which is never done. In diplomatic parlance, it never happens. No matter what emergency, that you just don't go without uh, presenting your credentials once again before going. So that was one thing that happened. Around the same time, in the month of July itself, there were a large number of Bangladeshi students who were studying in China who came back to Bangladesh and joined the protests. And these are all students, and it is said that anything between 8 to 10,000 of them came back. Uh, then, if you see the role of Peter Haas again, going back to Peter Haas, he is visited. He went back 3 months later in September last year. He resigned from the foreign service, and then he joined a private company. It's an energy company called Accelerate. He's made 6 visits to Bangladesh after that. Whom all has he meant, nobody knows, but he's been coming off and on. Then very recently, in August this year, there was this Colonel Trevor Jackson, a Special Forces Colonel of the United States, whose body was found in one of the hotels in Dhaka. Um, Not only was his body found, but the Bangladesh police, they were not allowed to carry out any autopsy on him. His body was just taken off by the U.S. Embassy. Now, it is also said that there were many electronic gadgets in his hotel room. What was he doing? Nobody knows. a serving special forces officer in Bangladesh who's been there for many months, but the US is absolutely quiet on this. Uh, so broadly, if I have to put it in one sentence, I made a reference of China because China was also in the know that something like this is going to happen. I would say that this complete thing was going back to what happened then, engineered by the United States, uh, executed by the Pakistanis, the ISI, and with the Chinese in the know. Now, coming back to the ISI, Dushyant just mentioned about the great role that Pakistan and ISI is now playing in this. Very recently, you had the Chief of General Staff visiting Bangladesh, Pakistan Chief of General Staff, and thereafter, uh, there is a ISI cell which has been established in the Pakistan embassy. This 15th, 16th of October is when he visits, and 3 days later, this cell of ISI gets established. And this is reported not by the Indian media. This is reported by the United States media. It's there on record. So this is something that probably we've lost sight of the American role, but there is also a Turkish role, and we know what Turkey did uh, during our recent operations against Pakistan in Sindhu. What they did, we know that there have been many engagements at official level with the Turkish people also, Turkish officials. Now, in all of this, what worries us is, of course, the attack on the minorities, the Indians, Hindus, all of them. But how will it impact Northeast? That's one factor which straight away comes to our mind. There have been attempts by Pakistan, by China to revive insurgency in some form from the time this has happened. There have been many reach outs that they've done to the insurgent groups, but unfortunately, for them, the insurgent groups don't have the kind of strength that they had, let's say, 15 years or 20 years ago. Uh, and one of the important factors for this is, of course, the kinetic operations undertaken by the security forces, Army, Assam Rifles, but it is also a case that today there is no mass support for them. It has just been said that there are reports to suggest that Paresh Barua has also now come to Bangladesh. He may come because all along he's been in Yunnan. But will that revive insurgency? Very unlikely. So on that front, I feel there's nothing much to worry. But yes, chicken neck, which they keep talking of, like Jalen Dushyant said, they've made this map of certain parts of Northeast, as also parts of Bihar and Bangladesh being part of them, and they're gifting those images to all foreign dignitaries who are coming there, including the Pakistani Chief of General Staff who had come there. So these are all provocations that they have been doing against us. So what is it that we need to do? I feel there are three, four things that need to be understood. Uh, Bangladesh itself is India locked. Uh, Yunus may say that Northeast is landlocked, but it's Bangladesh, which is India locked, 4,097 kilometers of border we share with them, which is 97% of their land borders. Uh, so it is geography that is going to dictate uh, the relations between our two countries. What Yunus is doing now is he's just playing to the gallery. Why is he doing this? Because he's got a single point agenda. It is against Sheikh Hasina, and by extension, because Sheikh Hasina's relations with us was cordial. That is why India. And I want to also tell the viewers as to what is the equation between Sheikh Hasina and Yunus. So in 2006, Yunus is a person who has always had political aspirations, but it's only come to fore now after the Americans got him here. 2006, he established a party when Sheikh Hasina was not in power. But she came to power immediately after that, and his party thereafter just vanished. Yunus, incidentally, is also a fellow who got the Nobel Peace Prize in 2006. Then 2009, he gets another award from the United States. 2010, again, he gets another highest award from the United States. These are all during the times of Obama, when Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State. And then the relations between Yunus and the Clinton Foundation is very well known. So all that is Grameen Bank did large amounts of money. They funded the Clinton Foundation in most of the events he used to go and give a talk. Interestingly, I want to bring out one more aspect. When our Prime Minister visited the United States after uh, Trump came to power, if you recollect, sir, in that media conference, there's somebody, one of the reporters asked Trump, what do you have to say about the change of government that has happened in Bangladesh, and what role did the United States have to play? There are two things that he said. First, he said the United States had no role to play. Second thing, he said, I'll leave uh, this question to the Prime Minister to answer. Now, while all this government change, etc., has happened during the previous regime, during Biden's time, one thing you must notice: anything that Biden has done, he speaks against Biden, no matter what policies Biden has done. In every interview, if there's any mention of Biden's party, he will say Biden spoiled this, Biden did this, that. But on this, seemingly, they are both on the same page by saying that the United States had no role to play. And I'll give you one more telling evidence of this. So this, if you see the Time magazine of June 24th, there are certain things it highlights there. Uh, it says that Hillary advocated a case against Yunus for the allegations of corruptions that were there against him in Bangladesh. Then it says that in 2023, Obama and Clinton and 160 other global leaders signed an open letter calling for an end to continuous judicial harassment by Bangladesh government of Yunus. And it so happens Sheikh Hasina had initiated about 200 cases against him. One is the 2006, but later on, she and he surely would have been behind bars because the charges against him were for forgery, for money laundering, and for financial embezzlement. So it all goes on to say that uh, Yunus had political ambitions all along, and now he had the United States, which was doing his bidding. So I come back to what options India has. Uh, I began by saying that it is the geography that will dictate future Indo-Bangladesh relationship, and I'll qualify with this with few more other issues. Very recently, 4 5 months ago, we stopped allowing Bangladesh goods to be exported from our land ports and seaports. So what has happened now? All their seaports have got congested. Uh, their exports have gone down. Airports, obviously, they're not able to use. Uh, Suddenly, but who gives out the figures of the Bangladesh economy? It's obviously there. It comes from the West. So they're trying to conjecture and show that nothing is very bad about the Bangladesh economy, but the Bangladesh economy is really in the dumps today. So the Bangladesh dependency on India is huge, uh, whether it is export, and sir, it's a one industry economy. It's only banking on the garment industry. If garment industry doesn't happen, it goes nowhere. So we have these leverages of cotton that we're exporting them, bales, raw cotton that we export to them. We can hold that. Then the biggest leverage that we have is probably waters. 54 of the 57 rivers that enter Bangladesh go from India. And the two important ones, of course, Tista coming from Sikkim and the Ganga. You're aware, sir, next year this Ganga Water Treaty is coming up for review in the month of March, April. And from the time that it was signed in 1996, 30 years ago, there has been a population increase both on the Indian side and on the Bangladesh side. Uh, Certain amount of that water was to go to Calcutta port, which it still will go, so that dredging becomes easier there, and the port can function. But besides, in West Bengal, in Bihar, which are two states which are hugely dependent on the Ganga water, there will be demands for greater amount of water to be released to them. And as an upper riparian state, uh, we have that advantage. But surely we are not China. We have that leverage where we can tell them that one is this Ganga water, and then is your Brahmaputra also. With China doing what it is doing there, China is already in its current fifth year plan. It has already started the construction work there, and very soon you will start seeing the effects of that. So that's another leverage that we need to tell them. Medical tourism, which has been very important. Almost 60% of the medical tourists who came to India were from Bangladesh. Now suddenly, visas that we are giving are less. Of course, we are giving, but the numbers have dwindled. So that severely impacted them. Uh, and then, of course, we have this leverage of rice. Very recently, you must have read in the media, so we are the largest producers of rice, and 70% of all the rice that is exported in the world is done by us. uh, and Bangladesh is hugely dependent on us. And going forward, as climate change happens, as more and more people get displaced because of climate, uh, which is again staring them in their faces. It is estimated that every year close to 25,000 to 30,000 people are being rendered homeless in Bangladesh. And where do they have to go? They can't just go to Pakistan. They can't go to China. These people, of course, officially or unofficially, as migrants, they would migrate to India, because that's how it has been the case always. But in all of this, we also, General Dushyant spoke of the other things. Militarily, we have to be ready. We already established three new cantonments near in the close vicinity of Bangladesh. All that we have done. We have to be ready for our conventional operations also. The insurgency, I said, is a little low on the cards. But in all of this, what we must not forget is what you're seeing today on the media. All those images do not actually represent what the common man in Bangladesh wants. Uh, there is a huge support, not just for Awami League, but for the cultural linkages that they have with India. This doesn't get highlighted because the radicals won't allow them to come in front and express this. But this is something that we should use back channel to ensure that this so-called wave, which has been created by the Islamists at the behest of Pakistan, dies its natural death.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. I think you made some telling points. There are many layers to this whole problem which have come out based on both your presentations. Pradeep, you just put the history in place and the layers in which the whole story is going on. So let me summarize the layers. I mean, one, there's an internal factor of Bangladesh. Internal factor of Bangladesh as to about the elections, the political setup, and the silent majority, the radicals. So you have three, four things there, and it is very clear that the media is trying to muzzle, sorry, the radicals are trying to muzzle the media and get the elections postponed, and so that they can run the country. And there is a good chance that uh, people of Bangladesh, the majority, are not for it. And I'll substantiate this. A month or two back, there was an opinion poll in which 50% or more of the people refused to tell their intent, right? Out of the other 50% who said, there was still about 15-20% who said we will vote for Awami League. That's the interesting thing. So they, when these people have understood that they don't have the public support, the common man support, all these things, eruptions could happen. So that's one stream. The second stream which has come out is the interplay between US, China, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, right? And with US interests going even to rare earths, that humanitarian corridor, rare earths, all that story, because going there and getting St. Martin Island was a story which predates Sheikh Hasina in the last term. It predates that. And one of the reasons why Sheikh Hasina was thrown out was that. In fact, if you go back, it goes back to the G20 meet in Delhi, where Sheikh Hasina met Biden through Prime Minister Modi, and some kind of a handshake was done. And after that, things went south, or whether things went bad. So that factor is also there. And then, of course, the factors which you brought is that there's a radical strain in Bangladesh which has come out like a jack in the box, and it's not going to go away. And that's going to be a factor going ahead when we discuss Bangladesh hereafter. And then we come to the fact that what does India do? Do you just block Bangladesh like a cage it off and leave it? Take care of our security? How do we do it? Should we go in for kinetic operations? Is it worth going in for kinetic operations in the midst of our development and open a third front when we already have a China front and a Pakistan front? Is it worth it? Or do we have better options? I think these are the issues which we have to really think of. And I go with both of you. I think the time has come when you have to flex your muscles, the way I look at it. So I think we should talk on these terms. And I'd like your views, General Dushyant, on this. Maybe in this line of thought or any line of thought you feel going ahead. How do we handle this?
So,
All your
sir, I was going through the various experts, so-called experts of our country, which include Shringla, Tharoor, and those kind of people who have been writing on this issue. While Tharoor says that it is time to change our narrative from neighborhood first to security first, which clearly implies that the situation has gone beyond a particular level of our current diplomacy. So therefore, that recognition is coming even in people who are soft power advocates. Their recommendations are still actually in the soft power domain. They want to somehow salvage this relationship. So they are recommending we should de-Hasina Bangladesh. That's the first recommendation they are giving. The second recommendation the group of experts are giving is uh, we should open our channels uh, with the parties like Inqilab Manch and NCP. And do we also do something with the Jamaat? I think we'll be doing the biggest mistake. I have been having a lot of discussions with people who are actually steering, initiatives related to security. The fountainhead of terrorism today, if there is any, it is Pakistan, and its executor is ISI. If you think anything is happening anywhere, you can trace it back to Pakistan. The Bondi attack, you can now we have prepared a paper where we are now about to establish that even that link is established to Pakistan. We are not saying that Pakistan is directly or indirectly responsible. What we are trying to say is that this particular country has given a model to people to use so-called radical elements as a state policy, and that is what exactly is coming out of but these people, the experts still feel no, there is a hope. Line of credits must remain open. We should start thinking of giving options to them so that they are able to get back the relationship into normal, like visas should remain open, such like soft power diplomacy. And that is why I wrote that soft power option. I don't agree to it. The time now is not for soft power option. Now the second option is that below the surface start doing gray zone operations. Now that is something which is a decision which powers that we have to take. And for that, what it would mean is only being reactive to any gray zone activities which these jokers are doing, right? So that would be more of a protecting yourself from any adverse security related situation which might occur due to radical elements of Bangladesh, or due to simply the stress of demography which is taking place in Bangladesh. I agree with General Nair that there is a. In fact, I had done a study way back in 2007. One third of this land mass will be lost in a few years' time. Now, if you lose, especially from the south, now if you lose that much amount of manpower, I feel that these guys are going to a plan. Why are they showing a map of Greater Bangladesh? It's exactly with this reason that they will get the space to expand out. They may be having they dug it out from somewhere, whichever corner of their history is concerned. But that Greater Bangladesh thing is linked to that. There is a demographic pressure also here. So what we need to do is, why only India is an option for settling them down. Now there were some people who said that while the Indians have only India to settle down, but these people have so many other places to settle down, and he's right. You go to US, sir, all the which is that burger, one of the burger companies. It's not Burger King. I think it's Burger King. It is owned by Bangladeshis. They've created a. So I think they should start finding options for their people. Use the demographic dividend to export them for skilled labor, unskilled labor, whatever they want to do. That kind of a approach is what Bangladesh has to take, and not start sharing Greater Bangladesh map to convince the international community that yes, India is a place where we can migrate our people to. So my sense is even this reactive so-called whatever gray zone activity they do, we do a reactive counter map or counter argument narrative into the environment. Will also not do at this time. What we need to do is hot gray zone, and hot gray zone would imply actions such as stopping their outlet of goods, creating for ourselves alternatives for connectivity with northeast, widening the Siliguri corridor. I think we need to become we have to enforce our heft now. How can we ensure our heft? If need be, increase our military strength in that part of the region. Leave aside what people say that there is no need for a 12 lakh army. I don't know how that fellow spoke what he had to speak. But today India is facing so many challenges that you cannot do without having presence in these areas. 4,068 kilometers of border. You can't only depend on BSF. It has to be strengthened. And if it has to be strengthened, it has to be strengthened with military might, and military might has to be displayed. The deterrence has to be displayed by India that, look, partner, if you do anything, you will be sorted out. And if worst comes to worst, if these guys don't listen, what stops you from doing a soft blockade? Get them. I mean, see, we have to be we are good in escalation. I think we have to start that escalation matrix now to ensure that these people give back what we have, what we want. They can't just hold our embassy for ransom. Either we call off our embassy from there. If we can do it for Canada, we can do it for Bangladesh also. We called out people out from the way the embassy people were treated in Canada was horrifying. So and this place so is even worse. Your deputy high commissioner gets bashed up, and we are still deciding soft options. I think the option in my mind is that become proactive in gray zone, start doing an escalation based on what these people are trying to do. The next most important thing is break the game of Yunus. Yunus is trying to retain power, sir. He's not interested in elections. He's trying to retain power through whatever means it is possible. He's creating all these internal. Why aren't we going loud by saying that, look, this election is unfair right in the beginning in its conceiving? If you ban a party from taking part in the election, it's no more an election. Hasina said you can come and fight the election. It was BNP which decided not to fight. But here is a case you're banning the party from fighting. That means you're afraid. That means you're not sure whether you do have the necessary support. That means you're not sure whether you will come into the government. So it's a very sinister game this fellow is playing. We need to also become up and about. Start having I would say, international support for our narratives. I think that's the way I would look at the our options, our way ahead, as far as we are concerned. Start showing our teeth.
Right. Thanks a lot. Start showing our teeth. Let me get Pradeep's view on this, and I'll trigger this with a option. I wouldn't say option, a thinking, a thought process. Is it time? Given the fact that we are moving ahead, we are going up the value chain in global economy and power, and it's time we got our neighborhood in our grip without doubts, with no ambiguity. Is it time for us to enforce a Monroe Doctrine, just like what USA is doing, you know, around the Americas, right? I
Mexico,
mean, put
Canada.
it in context. You look at the Trump national security strategy. He's kicking out China from Americas. Is it time for us to do something similar in Bangladesh? Pradeep.
That's a very good question, sir. But I will like to start with two things. One is
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
what General Dushyant said and what you also said. Uh, so, firstly, uh, I mean, as I see it, there are three options that are there in front of us. One is the current one where we strategic and diplomatic game. And only when things go beyond a certain limit, we actually call up the Bangladesh High Commissioner and issue a demand and all of that. And otherwise, we take things as they come. So that's the current option. So, uh, but by doing this, what has actually happened is uh, the Islamists see us as weak, and they feel that probably our dependency on Bangladesh is too much, especially in terms of our connectivities to the northeast, our act east policy, and all of that. We need them more than they need us. That's the basic aspiration we get when we continue this current policy, soft pedaling. Then uh, I would not advocate this. The second option, of course, is the strong arm tactics, where not only do we strangle them economically, we starve them by not giving them the food supplies that go there, especially rice, and then of course the water leverage that I spoke of. Now, when that happens, you're actually in some way adding fuel to the fire. The anti-India sentiments that are there, you're raising that as well. Uh, and of course, it
Hey,
will come
one
under a lot.
minute. 1 minute. Dushi, can you put off your TV? Your TV sound is coming.
Chalo. Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Uh, so the option that I mean, let me come back to the strong arm tactics that I was talking of. So we can also strengthen our borders, look at conventional operations, have more deployment in these areas. But one thing we should be very sure that no matter what uh, agreements they get into with Pakistan or China, it is very unlikely that troops from these countries will actually come here. At least China, I don't think any of China's troops are going to be here to threaten the Siliguri corridor. They'll give all kinds of help like they gave in Sindoor, yes. Uh, but Pakistan, some kind of visible presence in the form of collaborative training, which they have already started in any case with the army as also Air Force, they'll continue that. So we have to be prepared for that as well. But the option that I would recommend is somewhere between the two. Like I said, we have the Ganga Water Treaty coming now. Um, you can also, very recently, we also gave them supplies of rice when they were running out of rice. Um, uh, Cotton, their industry was collapsing. There's some amount of cotton also that has been sent to them. So all these leverages, which we don't highlight, neither do they, because they want to show their anti-India stance. So on the quiet, we can cut off all these small aids. And for Yunus, I think it's a bomb that is ticking. If he continues to play with fire, he himself is going to get engulfed in this. We can play the waiting game by adopting the third option that I said, because like Jan Dushan rightly brought out, he is hungry for power. That is the bottom line. And it was very well established, not just now. I took you back in time. 2006 itself is the first time that he ventured into politics, but he could make no headway. Came to his rescue now was the American presence and his closeness to the American establishment.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. I think we've covered most of the thing. What has come out very clearly is Bangladesh is a very complex environment. If it was earlier at one level of complexity, it has gone to another level of complexity now. And the complexity has increased because of the increase in radicalism in Bangladesh, which seems not to be coming down but going up. And with an anti-India sentiment going up and not coming down. If that be so, we have to start taking some hard options. The era of soft options are over, right? I'm from what we've heard from both the generals who have had experience in and around Bangladesh, both have come out with there are extreme options on the soft side and on the hard side, but we have to go in a graduated manner from the soft to the hard. Right? We have diplomatic options, we have trade related options, we have commercial options, we have political options, and we have military options also. We have to also take care of our security, which has come out. Your communication choke point called the Siliguri corridor. Well, if it be so, we have to widen it. Let's widen it. I mean, the time probably has come to do that. So, because our security is of paramount importance. Then, of course, you have to protect your northeast and people, and you also have to protect you know guard against the demographic ingress which you need to expect not only now but as we go ahead. So I think all these issues have come out, and it's been a very I mean, I wouldn't say intrusive. Intrusive is the wrong word. Introspective session to get to the nub of what's Bangladesh all about. We've had both General Dushyant and General Nair starting from different perspectives and but homing on to one common ground. That's what has made all this interesting. I'll take a few questions. Because we're running short of time, I'm not taking many, and the questions are huge. I'll just take one odd. Yeah. So the first question: Bangladesh was and is and shall remain East Pakistan. After all, the ideological center of gravity has always been in and around Dhaka. Of course, there are wolves in sheep clothing. Your views, uh,
Yeah.
Pradeep. Since you spoke about all that earlier, I'd like you to take this question on.
This point was actually brought about by General Dushyant. He said there are two Bangladesh. One is the
Okay,
Bangladesh.
fine. Like, Doshi, if you want to take it on, you take it
Yeah,
on. Yeah.
no, I'll give a very, very clear logic to what I said. If you look at the history of Bangladesh since 1971, there has been a very clear event happening, which are either it would be BNP, which was linked to the Pakistani officers, Bangladeshi officers in the Pakistani army. Then you have had Sheikh Hasina, who was linked to Mukti Bahini. So whenever it was Sheikh Hasina, it was only Sheikh Hasina's party which was seen as the Bangladesh. When it was BNP, it was only seen as BNP was the Bangladesh. Now this kind of somebody was ruling for 10 years, somebody ruled for 15 years, then there was a change every 5 years. So what you find is there has been a very clear divide of pro-Pak and pro, I would say, nationalism. I won't say pro India, I would say pro Bangladesh, or the desire to create a Bangladesh. So that has remained in this system. And let me tell you, I am now telling out of my personal experience. I've been a roommate of a host of Bangladeshi officers in a particular scenario, and I've heard them when they talk. I'm not joking about it, and I'm not making any. I'm not becoming a diplomat here. There is, after hearing them and what they have said, let me tell you, sir, your blood will boil.
Go ahead.
Yours as well as no, I won't tell it. I won't tell it because it's not worth being told in this kind of a forum. But let me tell you, there is a very, very clear, distinct, all officers. Now we started giving a logic कि अब वो सारे रिटायर हो गए हैं जो पाकिस्तान में पहले से थे, मतलब जो the officers who were earlier in Pakistan army, now they have retired, so new generation has come. So new generation is not that anti India. They are, sir. And earlier we recognize this fact, the better it will be for us. We negotiate from that perspective. We should have this in our background that when we are talking to them, we are talking to a person who is not going to be so pro you. So you have to deal with him clinically. Thank you.
So I'll like to differ a little bit on this.
Yeah.
Uh, while what General Dushyant says about people in uniform, there is a large number of them who are yes uh, of that kind. but the largest segment of Bangladesh, and I'm talking of the rural part of Bangladesh. There is a huge amount of support for Awami League, and there is also a huge amount of support for India, which
I'm
doesn't
not
come out in
denying.
the videos are never from those rural areas.
Uh,
If you see all the
I'm
videos
not
that
denying
come,
that. I'm not
so
denying that. That's why I'm saying there are two
let me
Bangladeshs.
yes, let me complete, sir. Let me complete. I'm not at all contesting your point. What I'm saying is that within Bangladesh, uh, there is a large majority which is still pro-India, and that's the population that we need to target. Uh, Now, uh, coming back to what General Dushyant said about the people in uniform, to a large extent, yes, but there are also some who do not speak that language. And coming to the current generation, Gen Z, General Dushyant said they are friendly. Not the case at all. Actually, what is happening is Gen Z doesn't know of 1971. They can't relate with that. It is something like, sir, today, if I ask my child and start telling him of all the sacrifices, like say my father or grandfather did for the independence movement, he can't relate. 1947, what they just can't relate. So that it's public memory always is short. So for them, okay, these things happened, and of course there are two narratives, like Jal Dushyant said, and it goes back to not 1971 December, but it goes back to 1971 March, when Sheikh Mujibur Rahman had won the elections and he declared Bangladesh as a free country, and uh, a week later, the other Begums, Khalida Zia's husband, then declared uh, independence for Bangladesh. So the two narratives they made then itself in March 1971 itself, and then thereafter all governments which came later on after Bangladesh independence, it's been a fallout of all that.
Yeah, I go with you, but the fact is there is a issue which we have to factor in, that the Bangladesh which we liberated in 1971 is not the Bangladesh we are dealing with. And this Bangladesh is more radical, more anti-India than what it was then. Notwithstanding the fact that I must tell everyone, I've done 4 episodes on Bangladesh, just tracing the history, putting India Bangladesh history in perspective. And what comes out very clearly is this is a troubled nation, which is a trouble with itself, and that this eruption is coming out. Only thing today, what is happening is something far more serious than what has happened so far. And when these people get emotional and they start acting, then they have the relevance of economy, world, and all is gone. They live for the day and they're prepared to die for the next day. So you have to deal with them accordingly. There's no point in saying, no, no, we'll give you the aid, trade, and all. That I think is out of the equation. But let me take another question, which is quite an interesting question. Says US Army went to Afghanistan, Indian Army went to Sri Lanka, intervened in Pakistan in 1971. So it would not be something unprecedented if India decides to intervene in Bangladesh. Can I have your views on this, Pradeep?
Um, I I assume that when he says intervene, he probably means physically sending our troops there,
Your
because
choice. You interpret it the way you want. Look,
okay,
Mhm.
sir.
there are 2, 3 connotations of this statement. We don't
Okay,
know
sir.
what he's talking, but let's
Because,
assume. You can assume the way you want, because I feel there are 4, 5 shades to this statement. Take a pot
uh,
shot at any.
I am assuming that he is meaning physical intervention of sending our troops and interfering or intervening, as he says, in what is happening in Bangladesh. I would not subscribe to that, because there is still some amount of uh, good faith that we have with the Bangladesh Army. Clear picture of that was the Bangladesh Army chief, General Waqar Rahman, when he said, uh, you know of that humanitarian corridor that had come, and he addressed his troops and said, "No bloody corridor." And he's the one who's actually put a gun on Yunus' head and said, "You have to have elections." If it was not for him, if it was not for the Bangladesh Army chief, this Yunus government would have just continued, which it still plans to. Like General Dushyant and I also, both of us, agreed to this point of view that he will keep kicking the can down the road and try and stretch or try and postpone the elections. And that is why it is time now. I told you of this violence, and the next violence will be when the trial process for Sheikh Hasina starts on the 19th of January. You can expect another round of violence, because within no time, that kangaroo court within a week will say she is guilty and all the other 12 members are guilty, and we want them back. If we don't get them back, there'll be another round of attacks against the Indian embassies there. So you can expect more violence in January as a lead up to the February elections, and then the February elections get postponed. That is how I see it.
Yeah, your views, Dushki, on this.
You see, intervention in any country has to have some aim or goal. Now, in this case, if we have to, like for example, in 71, we had a goal. We entered to do an action and came out. India would favor a intervention if it has to do of that kind of a intervention. So if our aim is to extract some people of ours who are, let's say, our high commission, or let's say our some consulate, which is, there are number of consulates in Bangladesh. If we have to extricate them, then of course we will try the talk route, and if the talk route doesn't fail, then I think we will intervene, and we will announce it in advance that, look, we are intervening to take out these people. Do what you want to do, like what we did in Pakistan. We said we are going to strike your terror camps, but if you escalate the problem further, we will be ready to face this escalation dominance. So my point is, with an aim you can do it, but without an aim, just to go because those guys are going against you, you sort them out in a manner which is holistic, not a reactive kind of a thing. It has to be aim based intervention if it has to be
Yeah.
done.
So what's coming out very clear to everyone is we don't go into Bangladesh at, in a hurry and then regret it at leisure, right? We like we did in Sri Lanka.
Sri
We've
Lanka.
got the great lesson, right? So we will do it on a need-based thing for specific issues, and I completely agree with both. I don't think that time has come for us to do this intervention, especially when you have so many other leverages. Okay, here is one comment. I just thought I'll share it with all of you. I had so many Bangladesh colleagues, but never thought that they were so communal. Well, just to put it in perspective, Arunachal Mudugirikar is he's from IIT. He was a professor in IIT, and he's retired, of course. And that's the thing. That's the crux, actually, in some manner, which is put out. The Bangladesh, which I said earlier, the Bangladesh we liberated in 1971 is not the Bangladesh we're dealing with. It is far different from what we liberated it. But having said that, even when we liberated it, it was quite communal and it was
Yeah.
quite Islamic. What many people don't know, this is something which when you read a history of a nation, you come to know. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman himself was started off his life as an Islamist. If you go into his history, he was an Islamist of a different variety, right? Okay, let me see if there's any other question. Oh, yeah. Okay, fine. I think we'll leave it at that. We've spent a lot of time. We've answered the core questions. I'd like to thank General Nair and General Dushyant Singh for their, comments. Very clear comments, very deep comments, and incisive. We've gone to the nub of the story of Bangladesh. This is a complicated problem. It is probably more complicated than what we have to deal with Pakistan or China, right? And we're going to deal this without too much military muscle. We should not end up using our military muscle, because as this is happening, there's a situation in Pakistan against Pakistan and China. We can't lose sight of that. You have to look at the larger picture of India. And within that larger envelope, we'll have to handle this to the best of our ability, and I'm sure we'll be able to do it. It's only a matter of uh, deciding as to what we need to do. With this, thank you. If you want to say anything more and add anything more, I'm open before I close the show. Uh, Pradeep, your anything else you want to add?
No, nothing. So that should be it.
Yeah, Dushi.
Absolutely nothing, sir, except just to tell people that Bangladesh is no mean competitor. They do have enough strength, both militarily as well as economically. They have a lot of leverages. So we should deal with Bangladesh in that manner.
Yeah,
That's.
don't underestimate who's opposite you. Everyone has got his strengths. We need to play to our strengths and their weaknesses. Right? Well said. Thanks a lot to both of you, and thanks a lot to everyone who's joined in. Have a great day, good evening, and Jai Hind to all of you. Thank you.
Jai Hind, sir, and thank you very much.